Welcome to this explainer. If you've ever watched a match and just wondered how the entire energy of a stadium can completely flip on its head in a matter of seconds, well, you're in the exact right place. Today, we're diving straight into the raw commentary of a wildly chaotic World Cup sequence between Australia and Turkey. We're really going to look closely at the language used to describe the action on the pitch and extract exactly what happens when structure completely breaks down and pure raw instinct takes over. Let's kick things off with the defining phrase from the broadcast commentary, end-to-end stuff. Now, we hear this phrase literally all the time in football broadcasts, right? But what does it actually signify? Well, these four words define a match that has completely shed its rigid tactical formations. We aren't watching a slow, methodical, side-to-side build-up here. No way. Instead, we're looking at a state of pure, unadulterated transition. The second one attack breaks down, boom, a counterattack is already surging in the exact opposite direction. It demands a massive amount of energy from the players, and man, as an observer, it just forces you right to the edge of your seat. This idea of end-to-end stuff is really the foundational lens we need to view the rest of this incredible sequence through. Section 1. The opening goal. So, the exact anatomy of this first strike breaks down into four distinct beats. Step 1. The ball checks back and takes a deflection. It starts with a total anomaly, right? Just an unpredictable bounce. Then, step 2, the commentator notes the ball falls kindly. But look, as we all know in sports, you kind of make your own luck. A simple deflection only becomes the ultimate catalyst because of step 3, Australia swarming forward. And that word, swarming, is absolutely crucial. It implies this total collective aggression. It's not just one isolated striker up there hoping for a pass. It's a coordinated wave of players sensing vulnerability and just rushing to exploit it. And finally, step 4 brings the whole thing to a close with what the broadcast vividly described as a lovely touch and lovely finish. Australia strikes first, and they don't do it with some heavily rehearsed set piece. They do it by turning a lucky deflection into a beautiful finish through sheer swarming numbers. Section 2, end-to-end chaos. But as we all know, scoring an opening goal is rarely the end of the story in this sport. Almost immediately, we hear the commentator urgently note a look from distance. And the outcome? Denied by the woodwork. I mean, just think deeply about the geometry and the physics of that exact moment for a second. A long, ambitious look from distance is agonizingly denied by the goalpost, proving just how razor-thin the margins of success and failure truly are on a stage like this. The woodwork is literally acting as this unforgiving physical barrier between a spectacular equalizer and crushing disappointment. Just an inch to the inside and we've got a tied game. But instead, the chaos just keeps going. And this next bit brilliantly illustrates the relentless pace we're dealing with. There's absolutely zero time to breathe after hitting that post. First, Ardu steps up, the moment suits the left footer, and he unleashes a powerful strike. Then, second, we immediately hear about the resulting action. The ball is beat with the save. A completely frantic, critical defensive intervention. But wait, the wave doesn't stop there. The very next breath of commentary highlights Seya Çelik, who is instantly in behind. It's just a relentless barrage of offensive pressure. I mean, think about it. A post hit, a targeted left-footed strike, a desperate save, and a runner slipping right in behind the defensive line. This right here, this is the ultimate proof of that end-to-end stuff quote we talked about at the very beginning. Section 3, the substitute impact. Now, when players start running out of gas operating at this kind of frantic pace, managers are eventually forced to turn to their bench, which brings up a really crucial question, one the commentator actually asks live on the broadcast. Do the substitutes have an immediate impact? Because honestly, throwing a substitute into a game moving at this velocity is a massive variable. Are they going to have the lungs and the absolute sharpness to match the frantic speed of the game right out of the gate? Or is the flow of the match just going to completely bypass them? So as the sequence reaches its climax, we see this really striking contrast in execution. On the one hand, you have Australia. The commentary tells us they're coming forward. And crucially, they've made it through. So despite the immense pressure, they actually maintain their attacking edge and successfully penetrate the defense. Meanwhile, all the way on the other end of the pitch, the ball is stood up towards Demirel. It's a golden setup, right? A massive opportunity. But how does this specific attack actually conclude? With a volley straight at the pitch, once again. It's such a vivid contrast. One team makes it through, while the other just drives their volley harmlessly into the turf out of total frustration. As we wrap up this explainer, we really have to look at the larger picture here. In a game of purely end-to-end stuff, is a grounded volley straight into the pitch just an example of squandered momentum, or is it the ultimate proof of football's razor-thin margins?
Think about it. When the entire momentum of a match can turn on a single, lucky deflection that just happens to fall kindly, does an abrupt miss define the outcome, or does it merely set the stage for the very next wave of chaos? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in and keep analyzing.